Furthermore, cosmology also suggests that our universe is just one of an unlimited number of other universes. Now, modern believers do not take the Bible literally and claim they see no conflict between science and their faith. They say they accept evolution. But when surveys ask them what they really believe, virtually all of them say that evolution is God-guided. Now, this is not Darwinian evolution. There's no evidence, divine or otherwise, in Darwinian evolution. Guided evolution is just another form of intelligent design. Darwinian evolution is godless. It says humanity was an accident. This is completely incompatible with Christianity, which assumes humans are a special creation of God. Fundamental to most, if not all, religions is the notion of divine creation, for which there's no scientific basis. At one time, it seemed impossible that the universe could have come into existence naturally. Christians saw the success of the Big Bang model as a good confirmation of the biblical creation story. At least it seemed to prove that the universe had a beginning, and it followed, at least by their bizarre reasoning, that the cause of that beginning could only be a personal creator God. Now, I don't even know why it could have just been a computer or something. We haven't proved that. Modern cosmology has considerably dampened this hope. It has shown that the Big Bang need not have been the beginning of space and time. The universe is very likely eternal and composed of an unlimited number of other universes besides our own. Reputable scholars have published several plausible scenarios for the natural origin of our universe. Now, while we cannot say exactly how the universe came about, these scenarios, which are completely worked out mathematically and consistent with all existing knowledge, at least prove that divine creation is not required by science. Now, many theists have claimed that the parameters of physics are so delicately balanced that if there were any slight changes in their values, life would not have been possible. Therefore, they conclude that a creator must have fine-tuned these parameters so that we and our form of life would evolve. Now, this claim can be refuted on several fronts. The most popular explanation among most physicists and cosmologists is that many universes exist, as I mentioned, and we just happen to be the one suited for us. However, even if only our universe exists, adequate explanations within existing knowledge can be found for the values of the most crucial physics parameters. Others can be shown to have ranges that make some form of life possible. Sure, if they were slightly different, our form of life wouldn't exist, I agree with that, but there could be other forms of life over a wide range of physics parameters. Now, for centuries, theologians have argued that the observed order we see around us is evidence for divine design in the universe, so-called argument from design. However, the universe does not look at all as if it were designed by a perfect, all-powerful, benevolent God. It is too imperfect, too filled with evil and suffering. As time has gone by, science has provided plausible explanations for the order that exists. Actually, the universe is mostly particles in random motion, with only one part in 100,000 showing any structure at all. We just happen to live in this little tiny pocket of organization. Proponents of intelligent design creationism argue that complex structures require an architect and builder, and that natural processes cannot generate increasing complexity. Well, they're wrong. The generation of complex systems from simpler systems can be seen in many physical situations, as well as biological, such as the phase transitions in which water, simple water, goes from a gas to a liquid to a solid in the absence of heat. If you have no heat, water will become increasingly complex. It'll go from from a smooth gas, unstructured gas, to crystallized ice. That's order coming from disorder. In the physical and biological worlds, then, simplicity begets complexity. But even if you grant the fine-tuning and other design arguments, there is no reason to claim that the designer was the Judaic-Christian Islamic God, or any other of the thousands of gods humans worshipped. Maybe it was a supercomputer out there someplace. But then who built the computer? This whole line of reasoning is worthless. It tells us nothing. In short, the world looks just like it should look if there is no God. The attributes of the God or gods most people worship. True that this doesn't eliminate other gods, such as the deist God that leaves the universe alone, but no one worships a God who does nothing. We can rule out most active gods to a high degree of probability. Now, whether or not gods exist, it is often said that religion is beneficial to both individuals and society. Now, I don't want to get into psychology. Let's stick to easier subjects, like physics. There's no evidence that, or medicine for that matter, there's no evidence that religious practice has any health benefits that are not already present for anyone with a healthy lifestyle. There's no smoking in church. Studies show that health benefits of going to church do not include a controlled sample of non-believers. So there's no evidence that we are seeing an effect that strictly results from church-going, or has any religious connection whatsoever. Until you do those kinds of experiments, you're not going to be able to prove anything. Now let me move on to the role of religion in society. People of faith are commonly treated with great deference. The religious are assumed to be persons of the highest moral standards, exemplars of goodness, kindness, charity. Why should that be? How does faith qualify anyone for such high esteem? After all, faith is unquestioning belief in the absence of supportive evidence, and even in the light of contrary evidence. How can one expect such a frame of mind to result in any special insight? How can false beliefs be a guide to life or the foundation for a successful society? Are we not being irresponsible to build a society based on faith? Yet here we have one of our two major political parties completely dominated by individuals who want to do just that, to turn America into a theocracy. So the incompatibility between science and religion is real. It would not matter much if it were just an academic dispute between theologians and scientists. Unfortunately, religion seriously hampers science from being put to the use for the benefit, indeed the very survival of humanity. Darwinian evolution is the foundation of modern biology. Yet in America, our best biological knowledge is not being taught in many, if not most, high schools. This neglect is bound to ultimately have a negative impact on human health sciences as well as basic biological research. In America, religious groups are being manipulated by corporate interests to work against their own members' best interests in health and economic well-being. They're being used to cast doubt upon well-established scientific findings in important issues such as overpopulation, pollution, and climate change. This would not be happening except for the opposing worldviews of science and religion. In America today, corporate leaders and the politicians they've purchased with their immense wealth are using religion to stifle science. When belief in ancient myths joins with other negative forces in our society, they hinder the world from advancing scientifically, economically, and socially at a time when rapid advancement in these areas is absolutely essential for the survival of humanity. We now may be only a generation away from the catastrophic problems predicted to result from global warming, pollution and overpopulation. Surely this finite planet cannot withstand a continuation of humanity's current exponential growth in population and exploitation of natural resources. Something has to give, and give soon. The cause of this problem can be laid, at least partially, at the feet of religion and its unsupportable positions on when life begins, reproductive rights, environmental controls, as well as its general distrust of science. Powerful corporate interests are using religion to cast doubt upon the work of climate scientists and others who are warning us about the dangers ahead. This is dirty politics, not legitimate scientific debate. The role of religion in climate change denialism is not widely appreciated. This becomes clearer when you see that the same people who are promoting creationism are involved in global warming denialism. Let me give one example. The Cornwall Alliance for the Stewardship of Creation has issued what they call an Evangelical Declaration on Global Warming. Allow me to quote from that declaration. We believe Earth and its ecosystems, created by God's intelligent design and infinite power and sustained by His faithful providence, are robust, resilient, self-regulating, and self-correcting, admirably suited for human flourishing and displaying His glory. We deny that Earth and its ecosystems are the fragile and unstable products of chance, and particularly that Earth's climate system is vulnerable to dangerous alteration because of minuscule changes in atmospheric chemistry. In other words, trust in God, He won't let us destroy the Earth. Now, could there be any better example of the folly of faith? Over 500 evangelicals, including many prominent preachers, theologians, signed the statement that I just read. If you're wondering what the religious connection could possibly be between the opposition to evolution and global denialism, global warming denialism, they both describe a world that is constantly changing, while the Bible and Christian tradition describe a world that is unchanging, that is, until Jesus returns. Several legislatures have passed bills requiring teachers to present all sides of the evidence on evolution and global warming. Now, that would be no problem if the arguments on all sides were presented accurately and honestly, but we know that's unlikely to happen. Since the only purpose of these bills is to create the illusion of scientific controversy on topics where, in truth, a strong consensus within the scientific community exists. It's like demanding equal time for flat Earth geology. In conclusion, it's time to challenge those who claim they have some sacred right to decide what kind of society the rest of us must live in. We must act for the sake of the betterment of humankind and the future of our planet. Based on the favorable signs that young people are increasingly abandoning religion, I have hope that perhaps in another generation America will have joined Europe and the rest of the developed world in casting off the rusty chains of ancient superstition that stand as an impediment to human survival. I just hope it's not too late. Thanks very much.